So U.S. intelligence has assessed that none of the fentanyl that is trafficked to the United States is being produced in Venezuela, despite recent claims from the Trump administration. A senior U.S. official directly tells me. The official noted that many of the boats targeted for strikes by the administration do not even have the requisite gasoline or motor capacity to reach U.S. waters, dramatically undercutting claims by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. Quote, despite the intelligence on Venezuela's lack of association with fentanyl, the Trump administration has made Venezuelan government drug trafficking the casus belli in its drive to overthrow the government of Nicolas Maduro. Toward that end, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has redirected millions of dollars in money previously allocated under USAID towards pro-democracy measures in Venezuela and the surrounding countries, a thinly veiled effort to prep the region for war. Two sources familiar with the discussions tell me that a long proponent of regime change, Marco Rubio, is the driving force behind the aggressive military posture towards the Maduro regime. Toward that end, Rubio, who is in charge of the remnants of USAID, has redirected some money previously allocated for pro-democracy measures in Venezuela in a thinly veiled effort, as we said earlier. And so I'm going to kick it now to Ryan, who actually did all of the reporting along with his colleagues over at DropSite to actually expose what some of those efforts actually look like at a contract level.
Yeah, and so we tried to go around Congress seeing what had been noticed when it comes to, money being moved from USAID over to INL or other State Department buckets. Jack Paulson, my colleague, dug through a bunch of kind of federal records and found some interesting buckets of money being moved around. Maybe the most interesting, we've got a $4.8 million contract that was moved for a, quote, Columbia virtual shooting range. It's a contract with an Arizona-based company called Virtra. So funding a shooting range in Columbia, meanwhile, a $1.73 million foreign military sale through the U.S. Coast Guard of a bunch of 21-foot boats to a Colombian entity. And so we got a tip that what we needed to do is look at Venezuela and the bordering countries, particularly Colombia and Guyana, where these kind of anti-Maduro Venezuelan factions set up shop. If you remember, there was an attempted 2020 coup that was funded largely through USAID and other State Department money, which they comically referred to as the Bay of Piglets, because it was such a catastrophe. It couldn't even rise to the Bay of Pigs.
It wasn't even a mature pig.
Wasn't even a mature pig. And you also have this conflict playing out between ExxonMobil in Guyana, and these like Guianan entities that keep threatening to move on Venezuela. And so what you've got is the ground being prepped for all sorts of kind of mischief and sabotage and troublemaking, while President Trump is now talking about bombing. All of this, we're told, is being really driven by Marco Rubio, who throughout the beginning of the Trump administration was trying to make the case for regime change in Venezuela using kind of the old school, South Florida arguments like human rights abuses. We got to get these communists out of our hemisphere. We got this. The election was stolen. We can't allow stolen election here in our hemisphere. And Trump, I'd say unsurprisingly, was not moved by any of those arguments.